Good evening, everyone. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's TNG review time. Yay.
I was muted all that time. Gosh. I was screaming my head off then.
You were cheering and screaming and cheering.
And shouting and hollering.
I saw that. I was
all lost.
On the side of my screen. I saw you there cheering away. Anyway, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the TNG Review Show with me, Montalban, and my co-host G-Star and Mazza McBob. Good evening, Mazza. How are you this evening?
Hello. I'm good, thank you.
Have you had a good week?
Yeah, it's been good, busy work-wise, but the weather's been fantastic, so that's great.
The weather has been great. Have you got any Easter eggs?
I do have one, yes.
You have one? Yeah. Oh, look at G-Star there. Have you not got any Easter eggs, G?
No.
Oh. Looks.
It sounds so sad.
But mind you,
bit of a sore subject.
For the last 10 years, I've had to buy my own anyway, so...
Oh.
To be fair, I did buy my own also, but I do all the grocery shopping, so you know.
Right.
But I bought one for Luda, and because I get online groceries,
You're attached.
I got him a Kinder one.
Right.
And this is what arrived. So
no, it's very apt.
Is that a Kinder Princess?
Yeah, Disney Princess for
That's
Luda.
almost perfect.
That is perfect for it, to be fair.
Princess.
Right, that is.
At first I was apologetic, and then I was like, what am I apologizing for? It's Disney. He's got to love that.
Yeah, tell him he's got to dress up to eat it. He's got to dress up like a princess to eat it.
Brilliant.
I will tell him
If not, he'll have 7 years bad luck.
Yes, so...
He'll believe.
So yes, welcome on board, everyone, and hello to everybody in chat. We have Lindy Hop there. Good evening, Stu Plum. He's looking to win more points this evening, but he's got his fierce rival in that area. Karen is also on. Good evening to you, Karen. And of course, I wouldn't be anywhere without my wrench smiler rainbow. So good evening to you all.
In YouTube as it is in life.
It's
yes.
very true. It's very
everybody
true.
In the universe, hello.
I've got my blood wine, which looks suspiciously like blackcurrant juice this evening.
As you didn't have any, I haven't even gone for my traditional goblet.
Oh dear. Yes. I've got an afternoon date with my cousin tomorrow, so I'm saving my liver functions for then.
Well, I went and bought a load more red wine today, even though my rack's nearly full. So I need to get through as much as possible.
It's good to have a full rack.
I'll bring some round on the weekend for the barbecue.
Whoop, whoop. Looking forward to it.
Burgers in the rain.
Burgers. It's not going to rain.
Forecast is good at the moment.
Yeah.
Comes in rainy Sunday, Monday, but Friday, Saturday currently look good.
Cool.
It's,
And this is a very special show this evening. I'll be signalling Smiler to come in with some party poppers later on because it is the last show of season 1 of Star Trek: The Next Generation. So after tonight, we are out. We're out of season 1.
yes.
To be fair, season 2 is not that much better.
It is.
It's better. There are better episodes in it, but there are also some pretty bad ones. But at least we're out of season 1. We've got to be happy about that. Oh, Karen says my barbecues are awesome. That's nice.
Yeah, you'll have to come down again.
Yeah. Yes, as soon as we can travel across borders and things, I'm sure Karen will be straight down here and guest starring on the Monty Zone. I'm pretty sure that'll be happening in the future.
Guest starring in person.
Yeah.
Rather than remotely.
Yeah. Yes. So the episodes we got for you tonight are the last 2 episodes of season 1. So that's Conspiracy and The Neutral Zone.
Do you reckon that it really is that episode, though? Conspiracy.
Or is
Some
it just
say.
conspiracy?
Yeah.
Some say. Oh,
Just thought I put a funny in there.
it's like magic. I mention it and it happens.
Party popper.
There we go.
There we go.
Do you know, I've got a variety of confetti cannons that I meant to do last fireworks night, and then Christmas, and then my birthday, and I keep forgetting. Maybe I'll bring one round on Saturday.
Oh, yay. That'd be cool.
Confetti cannon!
Yeah.
Then you can have the mess to clear up.
Yeah.
Yay!
Woohoo! Yeah. I'll have to film it so I can put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll bring them all.
Maybe. That would make a better video. Yeah. Yeah. So, yes. Let's get on with it then. Did this episode happen, or was it a figment of everyone's mouth? It's a conspiracy. I don't know what he's doing with that badge. I don't know.
Somebody's in a happy, chappy mood today.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Right, so conspiracy, yes, teaser. The Enterprise is en route to the ocean world of Pacifica. On the bridge, Geordie's telling the end of a joke. Try that in hyperspace. Ka-ching. Where then Data goes and breaks the joke down. Oh, I see, blah, blah, blah. I see why it's funny. And then bursts into simulated laughter. And this is the first time we've seen Data, I think, simulate his laughter like this.
It's quite eerie.
It's just like... and then he just carries on with whatever he's doing. Yeah, he does it very well,
Yeah, that's good comedy timing at the end.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he does it well, and much to the amusement of the rest of the bridge crew. Riker orders Geordie to increase to warp 6 because he wants to get to the planet and have fun in the water sooner. So he's like, yeah, let's go faster.
And how does Geordie respond?
I don't know. How does he? He's like, yes, sir.
He says, aye, sir, full impulse.
Does he say full impulse? Does he?
Which is a quarter of light speed.
Yeah. Weird. Okay. I didn't notice that.
She's jumped straight in
She's
with goof.
gone straight for a goof. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That is very good. An instant goof. We don't often get them. That's a
Even
rarity.
Before the titles.
Yeah. So yeah, they're talking about swimming, and it's like, well, Data's like, you can swim in the holodeck, and like Troy's like, it's not the same as swimming in moonlight, and Data's like, you can swim in moonlight. Yeah, and they ask Worf what he thinks, and he's like, swimming's too much like bathing. Very Klingon.
Where are they going?
Pacifica.
Yeah, that's correct. Well answered.
You're not supposed to be questioning me now.
Oh, right. Sorry. I'm just warming myself up for question time.
We haven't discussed before this what the questions are and what I should or should not say. So I'm questioning myself when I say things.
It will likely go horribly wrong.
Probably will.
Just to mention, though,
generally does.
As a bit of a celebration to the end of season 1, all the questions this evening are, I pretty much think, all multiple choice.
Hey!
Not to say
Viewers
they're easy. I've actually chosen a question that doesn't feature in the episode, but is about the episode.
Ooh, interesting.
Just to mix it up a little bit.
Okay. Data receives a code 47 transmission. That's Captain's eyes only.
47 reference.
47 reference. We love our 47 references. Picard takes the call in his quarters and finds...
Also in his dressing gown. I'm sure Karen liked that scene.
He's
kind of slightly scantily clad.
Yeah, I've just thought.
Hey.
Pictures. There's yeah. There's no
There's Data and Picard.
There's Data and Picard. There's no pictures of a scantily clad Picard in his nightwear, unfortunately.
Boo.
Boo. I can pull one up just for... No, I'm not going to Google. No.
But there's
Not on a live stream, no.
in the scene that you're describing at the moment, there's another... Well, I wouldn't describe it as a goof, but another little fan thing.
Ooh, is it?
Yeah.
Go on then.
It's just, because the code 47 is captain's eyes only, and it gets put through to his quarters.
Yep.
And then he has to go through security check, and all the security check is him saying his name.
Yeah, it's the voice recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as we know, and as they've already established, it's easy for people to mimic other people's voices, like Wesley did.
That's true.
So it's not exactly the most secure, considering it's captain's eyes only. You'd have thought you'd have had to put in a epsilon, alpha, beta,
Plus, the starship is monitoring you at all times and knows who you are and where you are and what condition you're in. So the ship knows.
It was a bit of a fan thing, not so much a goof, just where they were picking bones with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goof boy, look. What's this? What's going on?
I've got loads more in my back pocket.
Have you?
Yeah, literally.
I don't have so many goofs, but I've got pages of trivia for both of these episodes. So much trivia. It took me hours to write it.
Oh, this could be a long one, people.
Yeah.
Strap in.
Get your pillows, people.
Strap on. No, that's not right.
To be fair, I'll be selective and keep it brief.
Right. Okay. After this, we're going down to one episode of an episode. So this might be the last long one in a while. Anyway.
True that.
Code 7. Picard takes call. Yes, he finds that it's Captain Walker. Yeah,
Keel.
Walker. Who's an old friend of his. Walker wants to talk face to face, and he wants to do that at Ritalix B, and he wants it done immediately. He wants to talk about something very wrong with Starfleet. Dun dun dun. So Picard goes to the bridge and asks Data if he knows anything about Ritalix B, and Data confirms it's a mining colony in the mirror system. So Picard orders them to set course and not to notify anyone, not to tell Pacifica or Starfleet, and to sort of seesaw comms. And that's about it. Basically, he walks out of the bridge and everybody's kind of looking around going, ooh, what's all that about?
Although there is a little bit of, oh my God, we're not going to Pacifica now.
Yeah, yeah. Riker's now putting his speedos away.
There's some really good dramatic music as well in this episode. I find it's all like almost film-esque drama. Yeah, some good score.
Yeah, it was quite good at that point. There, you see the Enterprise,
the underbelly.
Yeah, kind of cruising off, and then flying along, and it was like really ominous sounding music.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, this is a tiny thing which you guys probably know to death, but Ludacris pointed this out, and it was not something I really noticed or remembered, although it was probably told to me 20 years ago. But at the beginning, just sort of towards the end of the titles, where you see the top of the Enterprise, and it's just sort of, you see it quite close, goes like that. The observation deck at the top, there's somebody
people walking by. Yeah,
it's really cool. I just never noticed.
It's always been there, but when it was in SD, when it was in standard definition, you couldn't see it. Yeah. And then when they upscaled it to HD, you could then actually see the person moving in the window.
It's just a lovely little detail that I'd never noticed.
So many people commented on Star Trek boards, wow, look, they've even added people moving about in the windows.
It's always there.
It's like, no, they did that at the time. It's always there. You just never see it.
I tell you another thing that's great to sort of see that kind of level of detail that you wouldn't have seen it when you probably first originally watched it, and that's the sort of upscaled HD 4K version of Alien, the original.
Oh, right.
yeah.
Yeah, there's like some really good stuff, and it's really stood the test of time, that film. Not all of it, but certainly a lot of it. Anyway, getting off the point. Wrong franchise.
Well, lots of good practical effects. They always last quite well, I think. Yes. So, yes, dramatic shots of the Enterprise. It's then approaching Ditalix B, and they find 3 ships in orbit. The Renegade, the Thomas Paine, and the Horatio.
Question time. So this is a Lieutenant Commander question worth 25 TNG points to anybody who gets it right. And it's a multiple choice one. And here is the first Lieutenant Commander question. Can you just pronounce the name of the planet again?
Ditalix B.
Is the rest? So Ditalix B is the requested rendezvous planet Picard has been asked to go to. It circles a red giant sun called A. Fira, B. Kira, or C. Mirror. So Ditalix B circles a red giant sun called A. Fira, B. Kira, or C. Mirror.
Clue, I did say it earlier.
You know the Horatio? I think it's the first mention of an Ambassador class ship.
Yeah, it is.
You're very correct, yeah.
And the other Ambassador class ship that features in TNG is the Enterprise C from yesterday's Enterprise.
Yeah, we don't see it, unfortunately, in this episode.
No,
probably.
true.
It is the first time it's mentioned, though, yeah.
And I'm surprised they don't use that ship more often, because there's so often we find when the Enterprise parks up next to another ship, it's like an Excelsior class ship. It's like, why don't they had that lovely model of that really cool looking Enterprise. Why didn't they use that more often? But who knows? Interestingly, that star's name is also the name of a 60s Star Trek episode.
All right.
I don't know why if that's why they named it that star named after that 60s Star Trek episode, but there you go. It is. Get your answers in there. So yes, the Horatio.
Question, Smiler.
Worf says he's tried to communicate with the other ships, but he's not getting any response, and Picard tells him not to try communicating again. Bearing in mind he did order earlier on communication blackout. So Worf's just communicating away. Yeah.
It's a very secure thing for a security officer to do.
Yeah. Where's the real security officer?
We'll get to his lack of being. We'll get to his lack of being head of security later in the episode as well.
True that.
Yeah.
Data detects 3 life signs on the planet in a mine, so Picard beams down alone. Picard meets the other 3 captains in the mine, where the 2 of them pull phasers on him, and Walker asks him a series of questions about his past. And he answers all the questions correctly, and so Walker tells them to lower their phasers, and he introduces the captains as Captain Rix and Captain Tryler Scott. And I think that's got to be the first.
So Michael.
Oh, that's
their fake.
That's the fake laughing.
Keel.
That's
no, that's not Walker Keel.
Yeah,
it is.
It is.
It is. Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Too far.
Too far.
No, that's as far as we got. No, we haven't got a picture of the captains.
Michael Berryman, who played Commander Rix, who's the Bolian, which is the first kind of Bolian to be featured. He loved his makeup so much. Apparently, at the end of the day, he was like, didn't want to get de-makeuped. He would go home in it. He thought it was hilarious. Like, go out wearing it. He thought it was brilliant.
Just wide out, walking around LA as a Bolian. Hi, everyone.
I found that really funny.
Yeah. He's an interesting looking chap, that guy.
Yeah.
I came across a thing on, I think it was YouTube yesterday, and this guy's been on Oprah Winfrey and everything, but it's this old guy that he did some sort of home remedy. He's a redneck, lives out in the woods, and he did some sort of home remedy, and he's turned himself blue. Like all of his skin, his body's gone blue. Yeah, and he looked like a Bolian.
Well, did you know that people turning blue is a sign of incest? And there was a whole community that lived in like the hills in the middle of America, who they're basically known as the blue people because they interbred so much that whatever gene it was that promoted blue skin just got amplified, and there's old photos of them. There's all these blue people, but it's one of the symptoms.
I think there's also like a type of heavy metal poisoning, like silver poisoning or something, which can turn your skin blue. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they were saying
from
blue,
somewhere.
but it looked more like a grey to me, like a dark grey. But yeah. But I thought to myself, he looked like a Bolian.
Yeah, so he introduces and I think this must be the first time we haven't got a picture of a black female captain being depicted in Star Trek, possibly.
Yeah.
Youngest to make captain as well.
Yeah.
Youngest black female. Yeah.
Well, no, just
not the
youngest.
youngest black female.
Just youngest. No.
Black female to make captain.
Yes.
Just the what do they call it? She made captain faster than anyone in history.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Yeah. So that was good. Wolf said he's yeah, there we go. Walker tells them that they've noticed strange patterns emerging from Starfleet orders. Starbase 12 was evacuated for 2 days with no explanation, and there's been unexplained deaths. Picard's not convinced by all this, though. Walker tells them that they struggle with bringing up memories, which is why they had to ask him a series of questions to see whether he'd been infected. And he thinks that it's spread to his own ship, and his first officer hasn't been the same since he come back from shore leave. Picard says he'll keep an eye out and tells him not. Walker tells him not to tell anyone of the meeting. But then ends the whole thing with "say hi to Bev for me," which completely contradicts the "don't tell anyone about this meeting." Oh, and when you say you see Beverly. Said I say hi.
Luckily, Picard, he's switched on as our Picard, and when he's asked.
But then, so Picard goes back after being not too convinced. The first thing Picard does is confides in Troy and tells her all about it. So I thought, okay, well, the very first thing he does is goes and tells someone. And Troy is a little concerned by it all, but he tells her he believes Walker and trusts him as a friend. They resume their course to Pacifica, and Picard gives Data a job of...
Oh, sorry, I've got to jump in with answer time.
Okay. Well, yeah. Sorry. Yes. Go on then.
Because I'm almost on to the next question. So we had 2 answers put in chat. One from Karen, one from Stu Plum. Both with the same answer. They gave A, which was Fira, and Maz. Do you know which one it was? No. You do?
I do. Yeah, I'm saying no, that wasn't right.
No, do you want to give the right answer? Yeah, Mirror. It was Mirror, guys. So it was, correct answer was C, Mirror. So no TNG points for Karen or Stu there, so that's 25 for me.
It was Mirror, and that is the name of a Star Trek episode. Yeah, Picard gives...
The name of Aquaman's missus.
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah, Picard gives Data a job that's suited to his particular talents. He wants him to review all of Starfleet's orders and data for the past 6 months. So Data goes off to the ready room to have a look through that. On the bridge.
Did you see the screen that was flicking around?
Yes, there is one of those parrots, one of those Roddenberry parrots comes up.
Bird of the galaxy or whatever they call it.
Yeah, well, that's like the third time that picture's been displayed. I wondered if you'd spot that. Yeah, on the bridge, Beverly asked Picard if she'd seen Walker as the Horatio was orbiting the planet, but he just says no. Worf picks up a disturbance in a nearby quadrant. So they go investigate and they find wreckage. Okay, question time.
After the Enterprise has left Ditalics B, returning to Pacifica, sensors pick up a disturbance, like Mark just said, or Worf picks up that the sensors pick up a disturbance. But in what sector of space?
I feel a disturbance in the Force.
Sector 63, B, Sector 68, or C, Sector 67. After the Enterprise has left Ditalics B, returning to Pacifica, the sensors pick up a disturbance. But in what sector of space? Sector 63, Sector 68, or Sector 67? That's too many sectors.
60 sexton.
I guess 63, 68, or 67. Pick one.
Cool.
47.
When we were talking about blue people, Smiler put, he's blue, dabba-dee, dab-da. Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eiffel 65.
Yes, well done. Pulled that for your brain box, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
The wreckage turns out to be the Horatio. It's been destroyed. I noticed a slight goof at this one as well. As they were flying towards the wreckage, there was no one sat in operations in the ops chair because Data wandered off to do his investigation. And usually when someone wanders off, someone instantly from somewhere else on the bridge appears and sits in that place.
Yeah.
But the Enterprise is currently flying along with no one in ops. Because as the Enterprise is approaching, you see Geordi there and an empty chair. And then when you see the next shot of you're looking more at Picard looking at the view screen, you can see a yellow arm on the control panel of ops. So at that point, someone sat there. But it goes from instantly being empty to instantly being someone sat there.
Did not pick up on that one.
Oh, it's just something I noticed. Yeah, so Picard confides in Riker in the observation lounge about what's going on. Riker's not convinced, as there's no proof. Data reviewing the data in Picard's ready room says startling, and the computer's like, what? And Data's like surprised because he was talking to himself, and he's like, I'm talking to myself, and then starts to explain to the computer what that means. Like, as he does, like, as a thesaurus. And the computer cuts him off, just like the same way Picard does. And Data's all put out, which I thought was quite funny. Again, it was quite a nice little Data scene. Data's had a couple of nice scenes in this episode. And
it's obviously meant for the comedy thing because, Captain Picard and other people do that to him all the time. They go, yes, thank you, Data, cut him off. So now it's the computer doing it. But the computer, for one of the first, I don't know if it's the only reference ever, but refers to itself in the first person.
Yeah.
It says something like, yes, thank you, I have enough information or something, but it calls itself I, which is interesting. But yeah, you were saying earlier about the ship Borg's computer knows where everybody is and what they're like at any one time. And it is one of the most advanced computer systems ever made in Starfleet. I think even after that point, probably because of the size of the complement of people and the fact that it's got families as well, and it probably has to teach children, and it probably has to do all sorts of things. So yeah, the fact that it's potentially a self-aware entity, possibly even in intelligence, kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I think it says something like, "Thank you, sir. I now comprehend."
Yeah.
Data's like all taken back. Yeah. Data takes his findings to Picard and Riker in observation, and he's reported that he's found an abnormal patterns in key personnel being reassigned, and those people that are being reassigned have frequent contact with the very top brass of Starfleet.
Picture me, Von. Oh no,
oh,
no, not
yeah,
yet.
no, oh no,
Not quite yet.
Not quite. Yeah, Riker wants to know why no one has noticed this, and Data basically says that Starfleet's right hand doesn't know what his left hand is doing. And Data thinks that it's an attempt to control key sectors of the Federation, and Riker then thinks that this could be a prelude to an invasion. So they decide that they're going to go back to Earth and find out from the source what's going on.
From which source?
Sorry, I was just reading Karen's comment. Horatio,
Resource.
didn't he end up on CSI Miami?
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't he end up in Shakespeare?
True. Oh, Horatio, I knew him well.
Yeah.
I knew him so well.
Yeah,
Actually, I might as well
Picard
give
knew
the
him well.
answer out
Give the
for
answers.
the commander question, which, by the way, I forgot to mention was for 50 TNG points. We had 2 answers in chat. You guys got anything to chip in on an answer for that one?
I have no idea. We've got a C and an A, so let's hope it's not B.
I'm going to go with, I can't remember what they B.
B, Sector 68.
Yes.
Well,
You know
we
I'm
have
right.
we have somebody who's now gone into the lead with 50 TNG points, and that person is Stu Plum.
Well done,
Oh,
Stupid.
The correct answer was Sector 63, and I just actually had to go and check by going back and watching it. Because I was like looking at the question, and I hadn't put anything next to it, and I was like, I can't remember which one it was. So I did not want to get it wrong, so I went back and double checked. It was Sector 63.
Brilliant.
So well done, Stu Plum.
Well
You
done,
have
Stu Plum.
50 TNG points. Well done.
fantastic.
In the lead.
Yeah.
Plenty of time to go yet, though.
So they return to Earth, and they get hailed by 3 admirals. There they are, the 3 admirals. Quinn, we know, on the far right there. And they want. Sorry, go on, G.
No, it doesn't matter. It's going to just be silly.
Okay.
Go ahead.
They want an explanation of why the Enterprise has returned, and Picard says he'd rather discuss it in person. So they go off and confer amongst themselves for a bit, and they come back and say that they agree, they'll discuss it, and they tell him they can come down for dinner. Picard and Riker come down for some dinner, and they'll find out what's going on. Admiral Quinn says he can't make the dinner, but he'd like to tour the Enterprise once again because he'd been there earlier in the year. Picard thinks that Quinn wants to talk to them alone, so he's still on their side. So there's always that hope. Let's see how that works out for them. Meanwhile, Quinn beams up, but
there's a goof here going.
He has a pink bug in a suitcase.
What goose that?
There's a goof.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, he beams up with the.
Oh yeah, the transporters should have picked up the.
They would have picked it up.
Yeah, the filters
Maybe-
would have picked up a live alien.
Maybe it was a very special briefcase that only top Starfleet brass
lined.
have. That
Not even Superman could see through it.
that gets things past transporters.
Well, if you want to believe that.
No, I'm saying, could be.
Could be. Who knows?
Yeah.
But if that existed and they already thought these people might be dodgy, I think they would have been. You'd think that they would have been wary to that.
Yeah.
The other thing is that, just as a little thing, but this is like the last time we see that Admiral's uniform, the one with the triangular sort of stripe down it.
Yeah.
It changes in season 2 to a slightly different one, and then it changes again in season 3, where I think something is replaced with a bar insignia instead of dots or something. But it does change sort of season by season, through 1 through 3.
It's pretty rubbish.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't see it again.
Yeah.
It's pretty horrendous.
Yeah. Picard and Riker greet Quinn in the transporter room and find him to be in remarkable health. Picard asks him about the threat he mentioned when he was last aboard, and Quinn's like, "Oh, that's not why you're here, is it? Because of what I said?" And he says, "Well, it is partly that." And Quinn says, "You've taken me too literally. I was just talking about the issue of integrating new worlds into the Federation and the challenges we face." So Picard apologizes for the misunderstanding, and Picard tells him the Riker will stay with him and show him around. He says it's not necessary. He'll stay where he is. It's fine. And you can join me later for the dinner. He then takes Riker to one side. They go into a transporter room, and he tells Riker that that's not Quinn. He's known Quinn for years. They've been friends for years, and that's not him. And he wants Riker to get Beverly to do a medical on him. And Riker's like, "But he's an admiral. How am I supposed to?" He's like, "I don't care. Just make it happen somehow." And he then gets on the transporter and tells the transporter chief to energize. And it was at that point I suddenly thought they just randomly walked into this transporter room. They've talked about the Admiral not being the Admiral and a big conspiracy, and and then he stood on a transporter pad, and this transporter chief's beamed him down right in front of the 3 admirals in the that transport chief must have been stood there thinking, what the bloody hell? I'll just fade into the background. Pretend I'm not here. This is above my pay grade.
It's like that episode of Lower Decks where they overhear like senior officers talking, but they don't actually know what's going on and stuff.
Yeah.
You can kind of imagine it from that perspective.
I mean, he must have been clued in something, because Picard, he knew to beam Picard down to the exact point that.
I forgot to mention there was an interesting fact when Quinn comes up onto the Enterprise and they walk out of the transport room into the corridor, and they stop in the middle of the corridor, don't they? And they're talking, and in the background there is a member of the crew, male
dude wearing a skirt.
Yeah,
I was going to mention that as
one.
well, because it was blue, wasn't it? But I can't remember. But it was in the first episode that happened, and I mentioned it at the time. And Mark said, "Oh, that happens a few times." And I've been kind of looking out for it, and I haven't actually seen it. But then half the time when I'm watching these episodes, I'm furiously writing, so I may have missed it. But it was nice to have seen it again towards the end of the series, because I thought, oh, they only did it once. But that was cool.
They have appeared a few times.
Yeah, they were apparently. It's like they were trying to say that there wasn't a male and female uniform.
Yeah,
it's good.
Which is really progressive, especially now with such gender fluidity. I think I kind of wish they had continued that as a theme of progressiveness, which some of the later episodes show that they're still very backward in their thinking in that respect. But and they stop having cross-dressing crewmen. But I thought that was really good. It was Star Trek was always seen as being quite progressive, and to me that was a really good example of that. Just a shame they didn't stick with it.
Yeah. And then you get a shot of Starfleet as he beams down. I noticed it's like a reused shot of Starfleet from, I think, Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Yes, correct. And because of that, they have what are they? Is it not Tholians, Terralians? Oh gosh, sorry. But it's the only time that they ever are shown in TNG, and that's because it is and they're the guys wearing the
Little
robes
guys,
outside.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, because it's a reused.
Yeah, Tholians aren't shown in TNG at all, are they? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I can't remember in my notes where it is what species they were, but yeah. Tellarites.
Oh, Tellarites.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're not. No, they're not. They're not really used in TNG at all. That led me to think. Actually, I woke up in the middle of the night last night and suddenly recalled something you said from. I think it was the last TNG review. From where We'll Only Have Paris. That one. And someone said about the Paris landscape, the map painting in the holodeck. Someone said it was from something else.
Yeah.
I think it was Yuji.
Yeah.
And I think you said it was from Star Trek 6.
I can't remember where I said it was from, but it had been. Yeah, it was definitely, I think, something that was used in a film.
I think Voyage Home was what I heard.
Oh, was it Voyage Home, was it?
I don't know. Why?
I thought you said it was from Star Trek 6. And then I suddenly thought last night, in the middle of the night, it just came to me. I don't know why. But Star Trek 6 came a lot later than this series of... but yes, maybe it was Voyage Home. Maybe it was Voyage Home.
Paris map painting from Undiscovered Country.
Oh, it is on.
Let me go back and check my notes. Hang on.
That's what mine had anyway.
Yeah, but Undiscovered Country is like 1991. This was made in like 1987. So like
right.
3 or 4 years.
Reused in Discovered Country rather than from.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just a thought I had. Yes, it was reused. A TNG map painting was reused in a film. So it must have been a bloody good painting.
Yeah.
So yes, Picard beams down, meets the 3 admirals. Oh, if we've got all the pictures. Oh no. Meets those 3. Picard observes that the corridors of Starfleet are quiet, and Remick says that it's just a quiet night. Quinn wants to show Riker something in his quarters on the Enterprise. And it's a new superior form of life. Riker says he should get his science officer, but Quinn says it doesn't like his science officer, it likes him. So they have a fight. And it's got to be probably one of the worst fight scenes I've ever seen in Star Trek. Like
There's so
the
many
body
goofs in this whole
doubles. The
scene.
body doubles are just awful.
Yeah.
Like
It's
for some
not
reason,
so much that they're awful. It's just like there's one point where you see the Admiral's body double for like 3 seconds. Like you get to see his face.
Full on his
and
full
everything.
face, obvious wig, complete different body shape.
it looks
Obviously
more
not
like
his
Data.
face. Yeah, he looks about 35 for a start.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's completely weird.
But I'm sure Maz is going to hit you with them. But there's absolutely loads of goofs that happen in this scene.
Oh yeah, I mean, just pitch in with these things, Gary. You don't have to wait for me to say stuff.
Anyway,
I'll wait
Riker
till he gets it.
signals security just before he's knocked out through a table. Riker does a lot of like landing on the floor and then looking over his shoulder for some reason. He does it like 2 or 3 times. I don't know why, but yeah. Some of the body double movements as well. I don't understand. Like Riker just gets like gently pushed to a wall, and they use a stunt double, and I'm thinking, surely, I mean, is he so precious that he couldn't just be like gently pushed to a wall? And they needed a stuntman.
Usually, it's not down to the actor's choice.
Yeah.
It's it's to do with the insurances and what the production companies can afford to pay out.
Well, it's all right for Tom Cruise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But so go on. What else
Yeah,
you notice?
he smashes through the table, and then like the stunt double lands like this, trying to cover their face or whatever. And then when you see him seconds later, he's like this.
Yeah, and then when security finally do turn up, he's completely the other way around as well.
Yeah, he moves again. and security both turn up without any weapons. Like,
Worf and
not only are they
Geordi.
not drawn, they don't even have weapons. Worf and Geordi.
It's not hardly
Yeah.
security either, is it? Head of security and the helmsman.
Yeah, exactly. Where are all the guards?
And they don't question the fact that it was Riker that did the emergency call out, but yet he's the one unconscious on the floor.
Yeah, Quinn's like, oh, he fell over. And it's like, if that was the case, why was he like, emergency crew quarters now? That isn't somebody that just fell over.
No.
And then there's the worst one come in. He kicks Geordi into the doors, and the doors burst open like a saloon doors would, but they would have been mounted into the wall, and they're
exactly.
clearly wood as well. Like you see,
They look like cardboard.
Yeah, there are no sort of tracks of where they would have been attached in. It just makes them look like a total prop.
Yeah, just so ridiculous.
And then when Worf's shoved into a wall, the replicator vibrates in a really odd way, which makes it look like
Plastic.
a prop.
Yeah.
And then, or was it No, it wasn't Yeah, it was Worf. And then Crusher arrives, who, the Doctor, of course, is going to be the only one that turns up with a weapon drawn.
Before any other security members.
Before the door's even been opened. And then she does this thing where she presses the button, it shoots him once, it shoots him another time, and then she doesn't press it, and a shot comes out, and then you see her a little bit after, and she goes, and nothing happens. So clearly, like, they got the little phaser graphic, and her pressing of the button was a bit mistimed.
Or maybe she'd just come from that conversation where she found out that she got fired, and that's why she had a phaser.
Maybe.
Ready to kill.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a bit of a disastrous scene all round, really.
It was pretty bad.
On the planet, they're trying to get Picard to try some aperitifs, some tea. And you can tell Picard doesn't want to drink it because he's like, I do not know what's in this. They tell P that Horatio, because he wants to know what happened to the ship. They say it imploded due to the negligence of the captain. So obviously they're just saying that just to wind him up, really, because they know they were friends, and so they're just rubbing it in his face.
They say it in a really obviously fake way as well, though.
Might as well just cackle evil laughs at this point. Back on the Enterprise, Admiral Quinn. We've talked about this one. Sorry. Yeah, this is the fight scene with Geordi and Worf, and Beverly shoots him with a phaser. Beverly then they get the Admiral to the to sick bay, and she says that a retinal scan shows that it is in fact Quinn. It's not a double or anything. And then they find a thorn-like thing sticking out the back of his neck, which doesn't look like rubber at all.
It looks like plasticine.
On the planet, the admirals are talking about conspiracies, because they go from taunting Picard about his mate blowing up to then just randomly talking about what he thinks about conspiracies. And then Remick says dinner's served. And Picard says, I'll be right there. I just got a signal Riker to join us. So he contacts the Enterprise, and Beverly tells him what her scans have picked up. And the parasite he's got wrapped around his neck. Oh, we got then next. Here's a scan. Here's a scan of the parasite there. And you can see the thorn-like thing sticking out of his neck. And it's a gill that the parasite uses to breathe.
You can go to any kindergarten or play school and there's kids making those things. Seriously.
She says it makes the host super strong, so beware of that. And it can't be removed without killing the patient. She says you got to set your phaser to kill, because stun doesn't do the job. And Picard's like, one does not visit Starfleet Command armed. So he's not got a phaser or anything like that.
Up the creek without a paddle.
Up the creek, that's right, yeah. So Picard walks into the lion's den. He joins the admirals for dinner. And they tell him, tuck in. Enjoy. So when he opens the pot, it's full of like larvae or like grubs or something.
Mealworms.
Yeah. Which apparently are very nutritious. And all the admirals start tucking in, but Picard looks like disgusted. So he pushes the bowl away and he goes to leave, but as the door opens, Riker appears. And instead of helping him, he says, "You're not going anywhere."
I have an interesting fact.
Go on.
So the doors in this that lead into the dining room.
Oh, 10 forward. Yeah.
Yeah, from season 2, they go on to be 10 forward doors.
Yeah, they get reused. Yes. I noticed that.
Also, you probably guessed, I mean, obviously Picard's food is moving and obviously nobody else's is.
No.
You probably guessed they were eating chow mein.
Is that what they were doing, was it? Yeah.
Apparently so.
Yeah. Yeah, I did notice that, yeah. Riker's moves as well.
Riker's moves as well. Even when he picks them up and holds them like this, they move.
Yeah.
Apparently, Jonathan Frakes said that they did have to film that scene several times, and in his words, a live mealworm may have crossed his lips.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So, yes, he says you're not going anywhere, and you will soon be one of us. One of the admirals says, "Well, you weren't meant for Riker." And he's like, "No, there was complications. Riker walked in on us." So, yeah, that happened. The admiral comes around him and checks his neck to see that he's got like a little thorn sticking out of his neck, and he has. So he's like, "Oh right, one of us."
The plasticine is there.
Plasticine, a bit of plasticine stuck on the back of his neck.
Even though really hard to fake.
We saw like the back of Admiral Quinn's neck a number of times when he came on board the Enterprise, and we never saw anything sticking out of his neck.
And not only that, a lot of the people that are down there have got quite short hair, and their collars don't come up very high. Like having a big purple thing sticking out the neck would have been obvious.
Yeah, Captain Scott joins them. And they kind of like are all just poking fun at Picard at that point because like the jig's up. It's like they knew about Picard all along, and they just been. This was all just orchestrated to bring Picard to them and just mess about with him, really, because they like a bit of showmanship. They were stringing him along all the time. At the meal, they want Riker to eat up. They want him to enjoy his body. Riker thinks F that and shoots them with a phaser instead. Yeah, I thought that was quite funny. They chase the old admiral after shooting the two that were in the room. They chase the old admiral down the corridor, and I thought it was pretty good. The old admiral there, it was actually him, I think, running down the corridor. He actually could run. That old dude could run. Yeah, he was moving.
He was shifting.
He shifted out that door and down that corridor, and I thought that wasn't even a body double. That was actually that old guy. Yeah.
I had the same thought.
And then they have the slowest phaser battle in history.
Yeah.
It's like
obvious
you can
goof. Like they shoot, and then Picard goes, "Ooh," and dodges out of the way, like as if that would have been possible.
Yeah, that was another thing that they picked at, because the fact that the phaser would be going the speed of light, he was able to dodge out of the way, and also there's it hits the wall behind him, but then it doesn't leave any damage on the wall.
Yeah. Basically, there were
places as well.
Oh, well, sorry, was it the one on the background?
It's used like many times apparently.
Yeah. Basically, the phasers were slower than one of G's serves in tennis. That's how slow it was.
That's
Are you having a laugh? Are you trying to take me to war?
No, I'm trying to say you got some quick serves on you.
There's been peace between us for 10 years.
I'll bring
back my 87-mile-per-hour serve.
Just saying, your serves are fast, dude. That's all I was saying.
As fast as a phaser.
Faster, even.
He didn't put it that way, though. He said they're as slow as.
Yeah.
But what he means is it's as fast as.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Move on.
Anyway, they shoot the admiral. the parasite comes out of his mouth and scuttles along the floor in a stop motion animation way, and they open the door and find Remick sat in what looks like some sort of control room throne thing, which happens to be the
we did observe
the
this
wheelchair.
back in the original episode.
Did it turn out to be that?
It was.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. And they're like, Remick! And he's like, what? And it scuttles up and it stop motions its way up his leg and up his plasticine arm. And then someone holds the prop on a stick so he can eat it off to the side. It just looks awful. It's just like hanging there in midair. If that was real, it would be floating. And he just goes, oh. And Remick eats it. And he stands up and his throat throbs and swells, which looks hideous. And Remick tells them, but all they want is to seek peaceful coexistence. And Riker and Picard look at each other and think once again, F that, and shoots him dead. And makes his head explode.
And then Red Dwarf moment happens.
A red dwarf alien comes out of his chest. So they shoot that again and make that explode. And it all explodes.
Yeah. Brains everywhere.
There's brains everywhere.
This isn't Star Trek as we know it.
No, it wasn't good. And yeah, so once Remick dies, the Queen in him dies, all the other bugs die. And back on the Enterprise, all is now well. All those that were infected are fine. Quinn makes full recovery. But before he died, Data tells them that Remick sent off some sort of message across the galaxy, and he thinks it's some sort of homing beacon. And you're left with the sort of floating through space and hearing beep, 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 beep. So you think, I wonder what's going to happen with that in future.
Question time.
Nothing. Nothing's going to happen. Unless they bring it up in... They might actually bring it up in Lower Decks. It might become a Lower Decks episode.
No, it did actually.
Did it come up again?
Yeah. No, it featured in something I'll tell you in a minute.
Oh,
but I did say question time.
Okay, question time, yes.
Because it's Captain's question.
Oh.
So, just to remind everybody, with Captain's questions, it's worth 100 TNG points, and it is the fastest on the buzzer. So, if there's multiple correct answers, it is the person who gets it first.
It's my chance to win. It's my chance to win.
Yeah. So this is co-hosts can both get involved in this one. This is the question that didn't feature in the episode, but is relevant to the episode, but it is multiple choice, don't worry. So, the parasites in the episode are named or known as what? A. Red scorpion. B. Bluegill. C. Dart dragon. Parasites in the episode are named or known as what? A. Red scorpion. B. Bluegill. Or C. Dart dragon. Quick. Quickest in
Who's
there.
going to get there first?
Well,
Shall I talk about something else? Well, you went to see. Oh,
Go
well,
on,
people have already
Go
got
on
there
then.
first, actually. Yeah, no, people have already got there first.
are you
There's
not
three
getting
answers, they're all
involved?
the same.
You're not putting an answer in?
Oh, no, sorry. My phone's nearly out of battery.
Boo.
I would have gone with B.
We had 4 Bs then. 4 Bs.
It's covered in bees.
Come to bees. And the fastest one in with technically incorrect because it was meant to be A, B, or C, but spent the time typing the full answer out. And the correct answer is Bluegill. Yeah, that's what they're known as. And they did actually feature in Deep Space Nine novels.
Did they really? Novels?
Yeah, they were brought back. And do you know that they are actually they are like baddie trills.
The symbiotes.
Yeah, they're like the dark side of the Trills.
Yeah, baddie Trills.
Yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
what they go on to kind of cover in the Deep Space Nine novels.
I think they could have used them in the shows, though. You know, they could have been like a bad Trill, kind of really evil type. A bit like the shapeshifters in Deep Space Nine. They could have been like that sort of thing for TNG.
And interestingly, Trills can't be infected by them.
Yeah.
Or join Trills, I should say. Sorry, can't be affected by them.
Yeah, I'll give the points to Karen because I have an advantage in that I've got no lag on the stream, so I'll always win.
Karen, to be fair, was quite yours popped up and then Karen's popped up immediately after. So that means after the first episode, we have Stu on 50 TNG points and Karen on 100. But well done, everybody, because Stu got the right answer as well. Everybody got it right. Be interested in whether it was a guess or whether people knew.
I knew. I don't know how I knew, but it was the only thing that sounded familiar to me.
Well, they were blue and they had gills, so it made sense.
I have a few points about the last scene. So, you know, the neck bulging thing?
Yeah.
It was actually Michael Westmore was blowing into the bladders to make his neck bulge. And they did a scene a few times. And, you know, they were all joking that Cliff Bowl was trying to make Michael Westmore hyperventilate. And it turns out that Michael Westmore and Cliff Bowl were actually school chums. Like they were childhood friends, and so there was like a lot of kind of, you know, banter between them on set and stuff. So that was quite cool. Apparently this episode won an Emmy for outstanding makeup, but clearly not outstanding special effects, but at least they got it for something. Also, you know, they had explosion scene. I don't know if you knew that this episode was banned by the BBC. They had to like cut that scene out for some time because they thought it was too graphic. And actually, even as they were filming it and stuff, there were some concerns about whether or not it was too graphic. They actually took a mold of Paul Newman's face and then they filled it with meat, and then exploded that. So it was like a meat face explosion. And nice. And apparently, what was he called? Somebody Curry, one of the guys working on the show, actually showed it to his 6-year-old son to try and gauge whether or not they thought it was too graphic. And his 6-year-old son wanted to see it over and over again and actually came up with the idea of having a little action figure with an exploding head. So they figured it was good to go. Clearly the BBC didn't think so.
I remember when I first saw it, I thought it was cool. Just because I like that sort of thing.
Well, it was quite critically
thing, you know,
well received, this episode.
I think it's got a lot of good aspects to it.
It does.
I quite enjoyed watching it again, I have to say. But it's just let down in some number of areas, like the effects haven't aged well.
They weren't great even at the time.
They weren't good at the time. This is the thing. This is like what I was saying last week. You know, some of them just were not acceptable level.
This and the next episode were supposed to be, you know, a major part of the Borg story. So it was kind of changed later on. And as you say, that homing signal beacon thing was never really mentioned again. But the original concept was that these creatures were an initial invading force sent in by the Borg in some way, which was never elaborated on. And this and the next episode were both changed significantly because of the writer's strike. So it was kind of cut back. But that's part of what the homing signal was supposed to be about, was, you know, sort of calling more people, or, you know, sort of that kind of thing, you know, signaling that they had failed in their attempts.
Well, the problem is that both for this episode and the next episode, like you said, they were affected by the Writers Guild strike.
You've been muted.
As a result, they had to bring in, like, you know, slightly more second-rate writers to finish off writing the script and script.
Yeah, and sometimes they just went with what they've got. In the next episode, they used part of a fan fiction story to patch over what they had. So it was like a crazy time, really, in terms of, you know, so I think it was a shame. I think, you know, there were some good ideas. I think the mood of the episode, I think, was really good. I think some of the concepts were good. It had some gravitas in areas, in this area of kind of mystery and, you know, intrigue, which I thought was really good. But yeah, there were a few little let down elements.
We need to score it then.
Well, I'm just going to say one last thing about it. I think
Okay.
it would have been better because it feels totally rushed as well. Because it seems like, you know, they had laid the foundation.
double
They
parter.
they had the foundation with the previous episode. It
Yeah.
kind of was leading through the series to some sort of massive conclusion, and I think this episode should have ended on like the USS Horatio blowing up or something, and had a B story as well, so that, you know, it had like something else running in the background with Wesley or something. Well, I don't know whilst it's going on, and then some big cliffhanger like the Horatio blows up. Oh my God, there is a conspiracy in the Federation, and then that be the end of the season, and then have a second part at the beginning of the next season where they go back to Earth and take back Starfleet.
Yeah.
That would have been the way to do it. Then it would have been awesome. But they squished it all into this one episode, and it wasn't even the end of the season episode, and it just feels it seems like a missed opportunity, you know. Anyway, there we go. Scores.
Oh, I find this one really hard to score, and it's one of the few times that I haven't, you know, just noted down a score in my notes. It's tricky. Oh, the other thing I forgot to say, but the way that these parasites work, not the look of them, but the way that they work and their effect is quite similar to the Goa'uld.
Yeah.
Stargate.
Yeah. Did you? I was going to say, do you have any more pictures?
Oh, there's them
They're
eating
eating the chow mein.
chow mein. There's the
Oh, I forgot to even mention that one.
yeah, he was
So,
a
yeah,
Vulcan. I forgot to
He
mention
did a
that.
really poor Vulcan neck pinch because you're supposed to drop instantly unconscious, which a few people picked up on. But the theory is that maybe the alien didn't really know what they were doing.
Yeah,
They kind of tried it, but didn't do it very well.
and there's the
That's
The red dwarf
the
moment.
Red Dwarf Queen alien
Polymorph.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's some art rendition of how it's going to look. But yeah, it looked really like a
and the
lump of
little
rubber.
flat little rubber thingies at the end all over the floor. Oh, they looked really funny.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're just all like laying around. Anyway, there you go. Scores on the doors.
1.
I don't know. I'm
2.
decided. Hang on. I've just changed my mind. No, I'm changing my mind again. No, I'm not. Yeah. All right. I've got it.
3, 2, 1.
5, 6, 7 again.
We're good at counting, that's for sure.
I mean, it's higher than I expected it to be when I thought about this episode last week, but it did have more redeeming features than I previously remember, because the predominant thing that stands out in my memory are the poor effects of those little critters. But they had a lot of good parts, I think. So yeah, scored it more favourably.
I did start with 7, and then I went to 6, and then I settled on 5.
You're just weird. How can you start off at 7 and whittle down to 5?
Because then I thought, no, the effects were so bad, and it was so rushed, and I'm so annoyed at it
obsessed with the
being.
effects.
Didn't you say that in one of the? Oh.
Yeah, no, my effects are my big thing, and you know, if it wasn't for the fact that they're so bad in this episode, it might have got a 10. But of season 1, I think this is one of my more towards my favorites.
Do you know, I'm actually going to stick with a 6. I don't care. I'm changing my mind.
You're not allowed to.
I am.
It's too late now.
It's my show. I can do what I want.
You haven't brought the spreadsheet up either, but you can bring the spreadsheet up at the end, maybe.
Gosh.
I'll bring it up at the end.
Oh, do you know what? I'm just changing mine. I'm going to change mine to a 10. Is that all right?
No.
Why not?
I can do it. It's my show. It's fine.
Oh, it's my show.
My show. Yeah. Right. Let's get on.
Got any scores from other people? Karen says 6. Duplum says 7.
Yeah, I think that's right. You know, I thought 5. Actually, I was being too harsh. I really did enjoy watching it. Yeah, it was good.
Well, if you enjoyed watching it, give it a 7 then.
No.
Six
Feel
doesn't
free
say
to start
enjoyment to
discussing
me.
the next episode. I'm just going to switch myself off briefly while I go get my little mobile battery pack for my phone.
Okay.
But carry on without
neutral zone.
Okay.
Here we go. The
Yeah,
neutral zone.
Neutral zone.
Teaser.
The very last one.
The last episode of season 1. Okay. The Enterprise is waiting for the return of Picard, who was at an important conference when they started monitoring an old Earth probe. Worth says it's heading towards a binary star system and will likely be destroyed, and he offered up he could nudge it on its course with a tractor beam if we want to save it. But Riker says no, let it be. Let nature take its course. So Data then wants to investigate the probe because for historical purposes, he's interested in it. He can learn some things. So Riker says, yeah, okay, we've got a little time. You can go and take Worf with you. So they go off to investigate the probe. 1987. Why has Stuplum said 1987?
I don't know. I was wondering that as well.
Did we ask a question?
That was
Is
essentially when they were
Stuplum
frozen.
Is Stuplum answering questions that you haven't asked yet? Has he travelled in time?
Clairvoyant.
Well, I don't have anything about Wonder. Oh, that's 1984, isn't it? Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't got any questions about Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
It's the
I
year that
have
Ludacris
nothing
was
that
born,
relates
if that
to
helps.
1987, other
That
than
does not
maybe
help.
he's jumping in and saying that's the year that these guys were frozen.
No,
don't
1994.
It wasn't 1987.
Well, then, Stu, let us know what you mean by 1987.
Yeah, we want to know. We all want to know. There's the probe, anyway.
I could create a question for that answer if you want.
Go on then.
What's the year after 1986?
That's a bloody good question, G.
Yeah.
Wow.
Stu
Nope,
was
you'll
really
get that.
fast already.
Wow.
Stupid,
well
I've
done,
got
Stu.
it!
How many
Well,
points does he get?
Hey, that's 10 points.
Minus 12.
No. Can't do some minus 12. Right. Yep, so Data goes off with Worf to investigate the probe. And on it, they beam across. And on it, they find it partially working. Worf can't get through a door because he doesn't know how to use a door handle. And on the other side of the door, after Data works it out for him, they find some pods with people in it. A lot of them have died because it's been there for hundreds of years. But they find 3 still intact and working.
Do you want some geek stuff about this, about the whole why were the lights still working after 3 centuries?
Geek on me.
Yes, a lot of people are saying that when they first beam over, Data says something like the air is
Minimal oxygen.
but they beamed in, and Worf beamed in without a spacesuit or anything or breathing equipment, and then they determined whether it was breathable air or not. Which obviously wouldn't have been the right way to do it, because if it wasn't breathable air in there, he would have died.
Worf would have been screwed.
Yeah, and then the fact that I think there's mention that on the vessel, you can see solar panels, but it's in an area
And
where
they're
it would be
severely
picking
damaged.
up, and it would be picking up any sun anyway, because it's meant to be in the outer reaches of space.
What's that light on it then?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. is
Studio
that,
light.
they wouldn't have had lights inside, certainly inside, or any power after 3 centuries of just floating in space.
Oh.
So, just picking away at the scientific errors.
It also wouldn't have travelled this distance without warp power either.
Nope.
But,
Yeah, would not have got into deep space from orbit.
no.
Yeah, as it was an orbiter.
No.
So it's not got a lot going for it, and the titles haven't even come up yet.
No. Anyway, run the titles. So Picard's coming on board. So Riker signals to Data to return because he's desperate to get out of there. But Data reports that he's found people on board, 3 in total, and Data wants to bring them on board. So Riker goes, "Oh, all right, but do it quickly because we've got to get out of here." It's like they don't care. They just don't care about these people.
They don't.
They really don't care about these people. It's like, oh God, we've got to save some people now. But the captain's on board and he's going to want to leave.
That's also a big discontinuity as well, is the fact that in everything Star Trek so far, and especially with Riker, they show, their characters show real avid interest in Earth history and the past, and like this would have been super exciting to most of them, yet they just don't seem to.
Yeah.
It's more of a burden than anything else.
Yeah, they all love their history, don't they? And the only one that's interested is Data.
But
who
especially
doesn't
Riker,
like
he was like really big into like old Earth history and the
Jazz
jazz period.
Yeah.
Definite character error.
Yeah. So Picard enters the bridge and orders the Enterprise to the neutral zone. And he wants to gather the senior staff in the observation lounge. On the observation lounge, Picard tells them that 2 Federation outposts have been destroyed. Worf says, "The Romulans," obviously. And Riker says they haven't heard from them for 50 years. Picard says, "Why now?" Starfleet are sending out ships, our ship, so they might find themselves overmatched.
Question time.
Oh. They will find themselves overmatched if the Romulans are looking for a fight. It's question time. Right, G, you've muted yourself. Somehow.
Have I done that?
I don't know. But you're
Can
there.
you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh. So 25 TNG points. This is Lieutenant Commander. So in the staff meeting that Mark was talking us through, Riker states that there's been no contact with the Romulans since what incident? A, the Tomed incident. B, the Sultra incident. Or C, the Conway incident.
Well, I didn't even say the incident name. I just said 50 years since the incident.
That's good. So in the staff meeting, Riker states that there's been no contact with the Romulans since since what incident? A, the Tomed incident, the Sultra incident, or the Conway incident? A, B, or C? Get your answers in comments.
Whilst you're getting your answers in, can I just remind anybody who's watching, if you are watching out there, please remember to like the stream, like the video, and all that jazz.
And subscribe.
And subscribe if you're not subscribed.
Also, while we have this picture on the screen, I don't know if you can see in the top sort of darker grey section above the solar panels.
Yes.
There's a number. Can you see that number? It's kind of backwards on this picture.
No.
It says 4077 above, higher.
Oh, you mean up there, like in the tubular bit in the middle?
Yeah.
I can't.
Zoom out slightly
Zoom
then.
out again.
Oh, yeah, 4077.
4077.
47.
407. It could be considered a 47 reference, but
All right.
actually it's a reference to the 477 or the 1477th Division infantry unit or what have you from MASH.
Oh, really? Oh, there you go.
And there are multiple references to MASH in this episode.
Was the producer or director or something from MASH?
I don't know why.
Well, one of the
must
actors
admit.
is from MASH.
Oh, is that what it was?
No, I'm joking.
Oh.
I thought the guy, the financier, I thought he was in MASH. But I'm not that
Don't think
familiar with
so.
MASH.
No.
I'll find out.
Yeah, look into it.
Yeah. Cool. Yes. Beverly talks to Picard, and Picard is confused because nobody bothered to tell Picard that they've got some people on board. So she's like, I've taken the people out of the capsules. And he's like, what people? What capsules? So she explains, and he's like, "Why did you do that?" And because the capsules were degrading, and she had to save them. She's thawed them out, and they all needed minor medical attention. Medical attention that's minor now, but back when they were frozen, it would have been fatal. Just to say that Stu Plum is 1987 was in reference to the year the series was made. So
Filmed,
the effects and that were from 1987. So
bad for 1987.
Yeah.
Terminator was made before 1987.
Oh, they're saying they've liked this stream. Thank you very much. Do you want to, before I continue, do you want to get the answers out? Yeah.
Yep. So we had Karen guessed C, which was the Conway incident, and Stu Plum guessed B, which was the Sultra incident. Now, I was being a little bit tricky on this one, you see, and a little bit coy, because C, the Conway incident, is actually the surname of the director of this episode. His name was James L. Conway. So the correct answer wasn't, unfortunately, the Conway incident, Karen. Sorry.
It was A, wasn't it? Was it A?
It was the Tomed incident. Yeah, A.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, Stu Plum got it wrong as well, the Sultra incident. So, yeah, the Tomed incident.
Yep, no winners that time round, G.
Yeah, no
you're
points changing.
You're beating
so
them
just
today.
To remind everybody, Stu's on 50 TNG points and Karen's on 100.
Yes, so one of them had a heart problem and the other one had liver damage. And they were frozen at the moment of death so that they could then be unfrozen at a later date and cured. And so for these people, it worked. Picard summoned Data to sickbay to tell him off, basically, for saving their lives. And he was like, why? Why did you have to do this? And he's like, well, because that's our job. And he's like, but they were already dead. How worse?
What more could have happened to them?
What more could have happened to them? And it's like, well, they're living. They've saved them. They're lying in your sickbay. You silly man. He's not getting the concept of, rescuing people. Beverly wakes one of them up, the female, and she takes one look at Worf and passes out. Which, to be fair...
As you would.
As you would, if you were faced with Worf. Michael Dorn, bless his cotton socks. Picard says, welcome to the 24th century.
To be fair, if I woke up to Worf, I think I'd be quite happy about it. But there you go.
You wouldn't be too displeased. Data had been examining the hard disk that he retrieved from the probe and found that the female was called Claire and she's 35 and she's a homemaker, so she must have been into some sort of construction.
That's funny.
The next guy, Rolf, died of a heart attack, and the last guy, Sonny, and he died of some sort of chemical abuse, basically.
Liver failure.
He was a failed musician.
Yeah.
Country rock musician, and the other guy was a financier.
Yeah, and because, if he hated life so much, why did he go to all this trouble? Yeah. He didn't get it. Picard goes to the bridge and orders Riker to look after the new guests. Karen thinks it's a bit like Khan. This is a bit like Space Seed. And it is very much like the episode Space Seed from the original Star Trek, which goes in a similar vein. Although these people are not genetically modified superhumans. Who want
super annoying
to take control of the Enterprise. They are super annoying. Data tells the guests it's now 2,364.
Yeah, which is kind of a landmark thingy because this is the first time that there's any reference in terms of real time as to when Star Trek is set. And every other reference is gone off this single point in time. by tracking forward or tracking back. That's how we know the dates for everything was from this episode.
Wow. Yeah, we knew we were in the 24th century, but we not know when. So it's good to know. He also tells them they've all been fixed up. And they're generally surprised by everything. They're surprised by Data, being an android who they think's a robot. And they're surprised by the aliens, like Worf, who Claire, the female, says it's the guy with the head. It's like, what's with the guy with the head?
With the head outside of his skin.
Yeah. She doesn't know anything about what's going on because she didn't know anything about cryogenics or this whole thing. It seems like her husband decided to do this at the point of her death without her knowledge. So one minute she was just living her life, not realised she'd had some sort of embolism, and then woke up in the 24th century on a starship at the other end of the galaxy.
So lucky.
Yeah.
She sits there and all she does is whine.
You just want that to happen to you, don't you, Jay?
Yeah.
Why can't that happen to me? Yeah.
Well, as long as certain people could come with me.
Yeah. Anyway, Sonny explains the process, and he says he thought it was just a bunch of hooey. And Data's like, hooey, and then looks it up in his internal dictionary, and then, gives all the references. And Sonny's like, now you're getting it. Rolf's happy because he bought stock in cryogenics, and they must have split a dozen times by now. But Data tells him that cryogenics literally didn't last beyond the 21st century, so it doesn't exist anymore. So he's, I've got to phone my, I need to use a telephone to contact my bank and let them know I'm still alive, because I've got a massive portfolio to think about.
Yeah, everybody's kind of going. I can't do the symbol live on air.
No, I saw it though. I did see it. It was kind of there. On the bridge, Troy's briefing Picard on what she knows about Romulans. Relate to Vulcans, they're super arrogant. They like to counterpunch. They won't do things first. They'll wait and react to whatever you do. And Picard's like, oh, thank you. That was all very valuable. Like it was the first time this season she's actually given him some valuable advice. And he's like, oh, wow, thanks.
But even then, when they asked her earlier, she was like, he said, oh, I want a full workup on them. And she was like, well, there's really not any information about them. But it's like, once again, it's a bit like with Yar. Every time she's asked to do something, it's like such a weak response. In the last couple of episodes, they've said, what do you think, Troy? And she's like, oh, I can't really tell. Or somebody's definitely hiding something, but I don't know who and I don't know what. It's like, oh, God. Very frustrating.
Yeah. And so, he kind of pats her on the head and goes, well done. Well done. You give me some good advice. They're related to Vulcans. That's really useful. Data shows Sonny how to use the replicator, and he makes a martini with 2 olives for the vitamins.
The best darn martini I ever did have.
Ooh.
So when talking to Data, revived cryogenics passenger LQ Sonny Clemens makes reference to Data or calls him a low mileage pit woofie.
No,
what?
He
doesn't call him
that. He asks Data if he wants to go find themselves a couple of low mileage pit woofies.
Okay.
And make them some memories.
Make them some memories.
So the question is, what is a pit woofie related to?
Yeah.
Is it A, horse racing?
We've all looked this up.
B, dog racing. The question's not for you though, remember. C, stock car racing. So is it A, horse racing, B, dog racing, or C, stock car racing? What is a low mileage pit woofie related to?
I didn't think it was related to any of those things.
I did.
Oh.
I know it's definitely one of them.
This is not what I've got.
Oh, well, I just want to say some stuff about the people, the characters, the displaced in time ones. So that Offenhouse guy, the financier, apparently the concept originally was that he was going to be a hardcore Fenton Mudd.
Right.
But the actor sort of died before like they did any filming
Yeah.
or a year before or something. So they ended up not having that.
Right.
I'm not sure what else I was going to say actually, but and just around about this point in time, actually, the other guy, Sonny, he talks about the Braves, the baseball team, the Braves, and says, "Oh, you know, they better stop their losing streak." Which, when this was written in the 80s, they were really poor. But actually, by the time they were supposed to have died in 1994, the Braves had turned into one of the best teams ever, and in fact, in 1995, won the World Series. So his comments were sort of 5 years out of date, actually, for how the Braves were
Right.
performing as a team. So that's pretty cool, I thought. Yeah, I can't remember what else I was going to say, but anyway, carry on.
Shall I say what I thought of Pit Woofy was?
You can do, yeah.
Country singers call pit woofies because they generally sit in the orchestral pit in front of the band, and it's a what do you call those? A roadie. It's a young female groupie. No, groupie. That's it. Young female groupie that follows a country and western band around.
Yeah, but that's not the reference I read.
No.
It would make more sense, being that he was a country singer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's certainly not.
No, it's in the, if you Google Pit Woofy, it actually mentions that it's the version of a groupie at a rock and roll concert.
Yes.
But it's not. It's what I'm saying is, I'll explain it when I can say the answer.
Yeah, but what I'm
still
saying, Gary, is
waiting for an
perhaps
answer.
pit woofy means multiple things, and perhaps it is also used in country and western singing, as Mark's saying, because it would make sense that a country and western singer that Sonny is would make reference to something that matches with his own.
Yeah, all I'm
But
trying
yeah,
to say is
certainly
that
in-
if you Google
Yeah,
it,
certainly in Google,
it comes
I
up
read what
saying
you read,
about
Gary.
a rock and roll groupie.
Yeah.
But it's not saying it is rock and roll groupie. It's using that as a similar analogy.
I think they've answered anyway, but yeah, it says a pit woofy is to stock car racing as a groupie is to music.
Yeah.
That's what the definition says online, but
So the
it
correct
may have
answer,
been used in
guys,
other references.
Right.
was stock
Who
car
knows?
racing.
Okay. Yeah. A
So
pit
no
lane.
points
A pit
again,
lane
unfortunately.
groupie. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. But it's a groupie. Yeah. So it was the right. Yeah. It is a groupie. A low mileage pit woofy. So not only a groupie, but a young groupie, because that's the low mileage part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nothing dodgy sounding there. Blah blah blah. He wants telephone. Oh, Troy gives a briefing. Where am I? Oh yeah, martinis. Sonny then wants to know how to use the boob tube. And he's like, son, the TV.
The boob
He
tube.
wants to, boob tube. He wants to know how the Braves are doing. But he gets told that actually television didn't make it past 2040. Personally, I don't think it's going to last that long.
Yeah, I thought that was quite an interesting prediction, actually. We'll see whether that one comes to pass.
Yeah. Sonny doesn't understand what they do for recreation. Yep. Okay. Rolf wants to speak to the captain so he can find. He wants to talk to his accountants. And then Sonny makes the pit woofy comment to build some memories. Data asks Riker what he's meant by that, and Riker's like, I don't have a clue. In the ready room, it looks like all 9 colonies have been destroyed along the neutral zone. And in Riker's opinion, this is the Romulans looking for a fight. And they're being provoked to Federation sending their best ship, and he thinks they should get on the offensive and strike first. Worf agrees.
Unsurprisingly,
he's like, yes, we should shoot them. But Picard asked Data, and Data thinks they should maybe check their facts first. Yes, let's do that. Let's do that one. Then you think, why isn't Data the first officer?
Yeah.
Rolf.
Yeah. He said all of that is correct, except that it's built on a single premise. And so if that premise is not right, then that's not the right course of action.
No. Stu Plum asks what stock cars don't woof.
But they do have pits.
They have.
You stop in the
They
pit.
do have pits. Yeah. Then Rolf contacts the captain in his ready room using comms because he watched Riker do it earlier. And he says, this is ridiculous. He says, this is worse than the QE2. And, because, Data referenced QE2. And he's like, it's an ocean liner. He's like, you're comparing the Enterprise to a cruise ship. And so while Rolf is going on at him over the comms, Picard gets straight in the turbo lift and goes down, walks into the room, and tells Rolf not to use the comm pad. And he's like, well, why isn't there some sort of key or something? And he's like, well, I just expect the crew to, use constraint. Yeah. So, I suppose, though, that's fair with the crew, but if you got, I don't know, you got, Romulans on board or Ferengi or some other sort of dignitaries from other races, do you just put them into rooms that are tied into everything on the ship? And you sort of restrict things down, And
even their access, it comes up a bit later, but they're free to roam anywhere, go anywhere, secured areas of the ship. There's nothing, no voice authentication, no, even nowadays you have swipe thingies to get into areas of your own workplace, let alone a bloody starship.
Yeah. And Ralph tells him that he reckons that his personal situation is more important than anything Picard's dealing with. Because he needs to contact his lawyers. I want to talk to my lawyers. And Picard tries telling him that humans have now outgrown their need for possessions, which is interesting. Consider Picard spends the series collecting possessions, like trinkets from different cultures and things. But we've moved past the need for possessions and owning things. And Ralph says he's wrong. It's not about owning things. It's about power. Power to control your destiny. And Claire starts...
what do you mean? And then he says, well, I'm here, aren't I? I had the money and the power to make sure that I'm alive 400 years later after I died. And then Picard's kind of like, huh.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think at that point, the writers thought, oh, that is a good point. We just lost that argument. Let's move on to Claire. Oh, look, Claire's crying. Why? Kind of disproved their own points. But
yeah, you say the writers, of course, there was this whole writer strike. And as I mentioned, this whole idea of these characters displaced in time was a piece of fan fiction by two particular ladies whose names escape me. But pretty cool concept, but added in.
Yeah, Claire starts crying because she's missing her children because they're hundreds of years in the past. And Picard quickly asks Troy to report to the guest quarters because he's like, oh no, a crying woman, I can't deal with that. And Riker chimes in to say that they're approaching the outpost. And Rolf, bless him, does apologise for being an asshole. He's like, I'm hundreds of years out of my time. I'm freaking out a bit here. And Picard's like, that's the most sensible thing you've said all afternoon. So Troy... Oh, Jesus Christ, we're still on the first picture.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look, there's another... Should we stay on that one now?
It's 4077.
I know it's the right way around. I should have put that picture up. Oh, there they are. Look, there's Rolf. Offenhouse and his... that's where they unfroze them in their sick beds. That's them introducing themselves and telling them what situation they're in. And that's as far as we got. There we go. We'll leave it on that one. Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. I'm terrible with the whole picture thing.
You should give Gary control of the pictures because he's the only one that ever remembers.
Well, you can do. You can share your screen and bring this up and control it yourself. Yeah, we'll try that next time, shall we?
Okay, that's season 2.
Yeah.
New feature.
New and improved.
New and improved, yeah. Changing it up. Yeah, Troy visits Claire and helps her look her children up on the ship's computer because she's like, well, we can find out all about your family and what's happened to them. And she's like, you can do that? Yeah, no probs. Sonny goes to visit the doctor because basically he wants some drugs. And Beverly's like, no. He wants somebody to get him up and somebody to put him to bed. You know, the full range. And she's like, no, you're fine. He's like, okay. And he goes off to look for Data, but not before physically assaulting the doctor by patting her on the buttocks. Just, yeah, casual sexual assault in sickbay.
It's not assault. It would be harassment at best, but she's like, ooh.
Ooh. You're about the prettiest goddamn doctor I've ever seen. So, yeah. Data finds him eventually in his quarters, and Sonny tells them that he's bored and he's thinking it might be a good idea to throw a party. So Data agrees to help, and he's like, hey, you got any good guitars around here, have you? And he's like, no, we don't have any of them, but I can replicate you one. So then Picard signals that they're approaching the neutral zone. So and Data confirms with Sonny that no, they will not be inviting the Romulans to their party.
They would be a buzzkill.
They would be a buzzkill. The Enterprise arrives at the neutral zone, but they find the outpost's been not just destroyed, but completely obliterated, literally scooped off the surface.
Ooh.
Bum, 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 bum.
Scooped off the surface. Does that sound familiar?
Rolf senses the tension level on the ship's risen. But Sonny's happy because he's got a new guitar with Sonny written on it.
And did you notice what he said about it?
That is replicated with a power replicator.
That the young man replicated it for me.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently there was, like, in the screenplay, Wesley Crusher was supposed to be in this episode and actually had a conversation with Sonny. He was asking about what kind of music they listen to these days and stuff. And Wes actually shows him how to replicate a guitar and makes that happen for him. But that was obviously eventually cut anyway. But, he still refers to the fact that young man made it for him because that scene was originally written in.
Right.
It's weird. Wheaton wasn't in this episode or the last episode, was he?
No, and I think we observed in the one before that was the last time he appears in season 1.
Yeah, I think he had to go off to school or something. Who knows? Yes. So yes, the next outpost they come across meets the same fate. So Riker wants to go straight to red alert, and Picard's like, no.
Chill, number 1.
Yeah, and Riker's like, well, yellow alert then?
Once again,
like,
Worf
okay.
agrees with Riker. And
Yeah.
I think it's quite a really good... I mean, for a start, I think it shows them two a little bit poor light in that they're just so gung-ho with wanting to be on the attack all the time. But I think it shows good judgment from Picard that, he's asking multiple people on his bridge what their advice is. They're all saying the same thing, and he's still standing his own ground and making his own decisions. I think that's pretty cool.
He concedes to a yellow alert, though.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. I'll let you have that one. Ralph makes his way to the main bridge, and then Worf detects a disturbance in the Force. Riker says, shields up! And he wants to power up all the weapons. But Picard says no.
Report says no.
Yeah, Picard says no. Worf reports that it looks like something is decloaking. And basically both Worf and Riker want to blow it up, before it decloaks, because this is going to be their only chance to fire
They're
everything
on
at
the
it.
verge of panic, the pair of them.
Yeah, but Picard says no.
That's why they're not captain, you see, though. They're not mature enough yet.
Yeah.
Picture. Oh, no. Just coming up to it.
Are we?
Almost about to get to it.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go while I'm still...
Often wrong.
Soon.
Rolf asks, who are they? Because, that when he says they are decloaking, he's like, who are they? And Riker orders him off the bridge. And just as he does that and they go to take him off the bridge, the Romulans do decloak in front of the Enterprise. And we get a fantastic shot of the Romulan warbird in front of the Enterprise. And the Romulan warbird looks fantastic. And we're all like, yes, now that's a ship. Look at it.
It's green.
It's green and it's big, and look at it.
It looks like the Incredible Hulk on steroids.
It's pretty
very
cool.
cool.
It's a very cool ship.
When you think about it, most of it's just empty space.
Yeah.
It was the final ship design that Andrew Probert did. But, he was also responsible from the Enterprise design from the motion picture and the Enterprise D. And I think it's got those similar sort of smooth lines as Enterprise D. But originally, apparently, the double hull design was always a feature. But they were originally, it was going to be vertical originally, but then they decided to go for horizontal. But yeah, it works really well. And it was deliberately, obviously made massive compared to the Enterprise.
Karen's asking for question time. She needs to put the bins out.
Well, the next one's coming at the end of the episode.
I'm not seeing messages.
Oh, you're all right. You're all right for a bit. You can go put the bins out, and we'll wait. We'll wait for question time. Don't you worry. You won't miss it.
You just let us know when you're back from the bins.
You let us know. We're here
Thank you
for
for
you.
saying that, because I've got to put my bin out tonight. You've just reminded me. I'm going to go put my bin out.
Picard says open hailing frequencies, and Worf objects to hailing frequencies being open.
Well, he was all happy to open hailing frequencies in the last episode when he was told to keep radio silence.
Yeah, that's right. And now he's being told to open up hailing frequencies. He's like, I object, Romulans. And like, do it. But the Romulans report that their outposts have been destroyed along their side of the neutral zone as well. And Rolf chimes in that, and Picard asks them who they think is responsible, and they go quiet. And Rolf chimes in that they haven't got a clue, which is exactly the sort of advice that Troy would have come up with if she was allowed to give it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they have a clue. But they're too arrogant to ask. And then Riker tells him that he's out of line, mister. I'm presuming Riker gets all angry at him at this point because Ralph's made him look like a complete idiot.
Yeah.
He's just annoyed about it because everything he's presumed the whole episode has been completely wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Picard says, no, Ralph, you are correct. And Picard gets them to agree to collaborate on this particular issue. And Goldacott then conducts some...
Goldacott.
Yeah.
It's not Goldacott.
It is.
I know it is.
Oh, you're such a typecaster. I mean, the man is so multi-dimensional that you wouldn't even know it was him unless, I don't know, you closed your eyes and his voice sounded the same as it sounds for every single character he plays.
I think Goldacott's just posing. He's undercover as a Romulan.
Yeah.
I forgot
Well,
what.
we have seen him as a Bajoran, and we have seen him as a human.
Praetor?
Actually, he was in Series 1 before this episode.
He was.
We
Yeah,
know.
we come up with that in the episode.
I told Mark this.
It's one of
never
Maz's
realised.
facts.
Badar and from whatever
Yeah,
the one was where they were
Antiken.
cannibals. Yeah.
Antiken, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
He was
just,
never credited for that because he thought it was going to come out really badly, and then afterwards thought it was not too bad.
And he goes to play another. He plays another Romulan before he plays Golden Cat.
anyway. Golden Cat then conducts some grandstanding, culminating in "No, we are back as Romulans, and we're going to, F you up if you come near us." Troy finds Claire's family and her many, many, many great grandson, who happens to look just like her husband, Donald, and also looks suspiciously like one of the producers of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Correct.
I don't know his name.
And also on the screens, there's screens of a few different pictures, or when they were going through the various things, there's like all these names that are listed.
The time tree.
On the first screen, it was like on the first screen, it was some names that related to her family. On the second screen, it was all of the cast from TNG. It had like Denise C and Gates M and, that kind of thing. And then on the third screen, it had the cast members from MASH again.
Oh, there you go.
Cool. And I still don't know why. I've tried to look up why MASH references in Star Trek, but I'm not really sure. Must have been some kind of in-joke or something. But they've got other MASH references throughout Star Trek, like starbase names and things like that.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I'm not sure why.
The geeks pick up on this one as well, because she says to, is it Claire?
Claire.
Claire.
She says to Claire, "This is your great, 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 great."
5 times.
5 times, when actually over 3 centuries it had been way longer than that.
Yeah, they said 10 generations earlier, and then she only said 5 greats, but I'm guessing they just got bored of her saying the same word.
Yeah, it becomes a bit of a comedy scene, doesn't it, if she just spends like a couple of minutes just going great, 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 great.
I think it would have been funny.
Yeah. Ralph's still grappling with the concept of having no money. And he tells Picard, "What am I going to do with myself now? I've got no money, no assets, no anything." And Picard tells him, "The whole point of life now is to better yourself." Sonny's happy because nobody knows his music, so he gets to re-release all his old stuff, and he'll be bigger than he ever was if his wandering hands don't get him into trouble first. And he asks Data if he wants to join him as his sideman, and Data says that intrigues him. And like Picard then looks at him like, "What?" He thinks he's going to lose his second officer to a music act. Picard makes arrangements to have them taken back to Earth via the USS Charlestown. And Riker thinks it's a shame that they can't take him back to Earth themselves. But Picard says that would be going backwards. And they only boldly going forwards because they can't find reverse. They have much to do, and they've got much to learn and engage to the next mission. And that was the end of the episode.
Party popper.
End of the episode and end of the season. Hang on. I've got it. Here we go. There we go.
Yay! But don't be scared, guys, because it's not the last question time.
Oh, I love the smell of party poppers.
So for this last question, which is the captain question, worth 100 TNG points. So it is a game changer for our current cumulative points, with Stu on 50 and Karen on 100. It is fastest on the buzzer again. Remember, it is going to be multiple choice. So for this question, I want to take you back to the beginning of the episode when Picard calls the guys together for a staff meeting. So in that scene, when Picard returns to the ship and tells the crew about the incident in Sector 31, he states that several outposts have been destroyed. But how many outposts? Was it A, 6, B, 4, or C, 2? So when Picard comes back and he has the meeting with the crew and he says there was an incident in Sector 31 and he states that several outposts have been destroyed. But how many? Was it A, 6, B4 or C2? And I forgot to check whether Karen was back from the bins.
Are you back from the bin, Karen?
Oh,
Oh no.
we forgot.
Do you know what? Because it's the end of the season, I'm going to be super generous. If anybody puts the right answer in chat, they get the
100
points. They
points.
get 100 points anyway.
I know the answer, but I don't want to put it before Karen. I'm gonna leave my answer.
Well, there is no race now, so
I'm gonna wait.
You can take your time, guys. Think about it. Don't waste those 100 TNG points by just making a quick guess.
And I've got
So, how
bunch of
many
stuff I can fill
outposts
with.
have been destroyed?
Yeah, hopefully Smiler will.
Was it
put it in chat.
A6, B4, or C2? I think Smiler's gone on holiday this evening.
Yeah, she's busy. She's been busy.
So anyway, got a few bits and bobs.
Right.
So obviously this was, Borg related, and this was going to be a much bigger kind of cliffhanger type of a two-parter around the Borg, including those buggy things from the last thing being Borg. Fortunately, that didn't happen. But obviously the Romulans were brought into it, and apparently for this series there were 3 main edicts from Gene Roddenberry, which was no warfare with the Klingons, no warfare with the Romulans, and no stories about Vulcans. He had a theory that they had done a few things to death in the past, and that although there are a lot of repetitions of themes from Gene Roddenberry, he still thought that the universe is a big wide thing out there. There are many more interesting alien species that we can encounter. They tried with the Ferengi. Obviously, that didn't go down well with production staff as being credible as an enemy. And the Borg originally, conceptually, were going to be an insectoid type species.
All right.
Hence why they're in a hive. And obviously it was changed at a later stage from them to being cyborgs. But yeah, that was kind of one of the original concepts.
Oh, cool.
Prelude to Counterfeit Borg, we've already said that. So the Romulan foreheads were developed to differentiate themselves from the Vulcans, which was kind of a new thing.
Yeah,
Unlike
that's new,
the
isn't it?
Klingons.
That wasn't like it was before. They looked exactly like Vulcans before.
Correct. And unlike the Borg, unlike the Klingons that have unique foreheads, they took a decision that they weren't going to make it that way for the Romulans. They have a few standard set pieces that are used for multiple Romulans, so it's a much more uniform facial feature. What else? It was the only time the Romulan uniforms had the black sash. That never appears again.
Yeah.
There was a glass-shaped pyramid structure that was used at the Café des Artistes and Kirk's quarters you didn't notice this time.
I didn't notice it. No, where was
It had
that?
a plant in it.
Where was that?
It was in the quarters, in the guest quarters that they were in.
I did not notice.
Yes, I thought it was funny. It's the last time Jonathan Frakes is clean-shaven. There was a boom mic on a wall, apparently. I didn't spot it myself, but apparently so. And the whole handling of Offenhouse on the bridge was ridiculous. Like the security officers were asked to get him out of there. They grabbed him and then they just let him go.
Yeah.
And then they let him interfere with the captain and talk to the aliens and everything. And then eventually they get him off there, but they effectively, were completely ineffectual, stood there doing nothing and disobeyed orders.
James L. Conway, who I was saying about earlier, who was the director for this episode, said that he felt that although the episode was quite welcomed by the critics, he said it would have been even better if it wasn't for the writers' strike. But James Conway, he directed the episode Justice in Series 1, but after this episode that he directed, the next episode that he directs for TNG isn't until Series 6 in its Frame of Mind, which is a really good episode.
Yeah.
That's the one with Riker doing the play.
Yeah.
And the play becomes real, and he doesn't know whether the play is real. And
yeah. It's a good episode.
Yeah, season 6 that is. So this director doesn't come back from here until season 6.
Do you want to ask the question for Karen? Karen's back from her bin duty, and whilst Smiler has put the options, she doesn't know what the question is.
Okay, so the question was, Karen, we didn't get an answer back from Stuplum either, so he might have gone.
You might have lost Stuplum.
So
Might be
when
past his bedtime.
Picard, so going back, Karen, to the beginning part of the episode, when Picard returns to the ship and has the staff meeting, he tells the crew about the incident in Sector 31. He states that several outposts have been destroyed, but how many outposts were destroyed? Was it A6, B4, or C2?
Before that's Data's. Is that
You got another one of my little.
Is that a little Data reference there?
Little Easter egg from Gary on the eve of Easter.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. I was trying to be. Watch out for season 2, because now that I've thought about it, I'm gonna do all these little clever things where I'm gonna put the main guest actor's real name in one of the answers and stuff like that. And drop all these Easter eggs in.
I can press go on my answer now.
So Stu Plum put A, which was 6. Karen's put C2. So and what was Mars going to say?
Oh, I didn't guess.
All right, okay.
I'm too busy worrying why I can't see it. Oh yeah, I've had to restart it. I couldn't see any of the chat.
Oh no.
Okay, so the correct answer was given by Karen, who, fast off the buzzer, coming back from the bins, in a galaxy far, far away. She got the right answer, and so did Monty. It's correct. 2 outposts were destroyed. So that's 100 TNG points to both of you. So that means for the evening, the scores are with 50 TNG points, Stu Plum, with 100 TNG points, Mark, and with 200 TNG points, Karen.
Yay.
Well done, Karen. Yay.
Well done, Kaz.
That gives her another evening win. That puts you on 3 wins now. She's now struck out in the lead. Well done.
So, shall we do the scores on the doors?
Let's do the scores on the doors for the last time in season 1.
I don't know. It's difficult. I found both of these episodes tonight difficult.
It's got a Romulan Warbird in it.
It has.
Make sure to put your scores in the chat, guys.
And Goldacott.
And comedy.
Mm.
That's what I was going to say. Sonny G-Star, the guy who plays him, this isn't Star Trek related, but he also features in another one of your favorite series.
X-Files.
Deadwood.
Oh, yes, of course. He's actually one of my favorite sort of small part actors, because he's also in The Patriot with Mel Gibson.
He sort of steals the show, I think, in this episode. I think he's absolutely great in it.
Yeah, he's the barman from down the road in Deadwood.
Yeah.
He's a really good actor. Really good actor. He's one of those actors that, although he always plays someone that's sort of Midwest kind of US related, each character is still very different and feels very different. It wasn't until, I don't know, probably watching it the second or third time that I sort of clocked that it was actually him in The Patriot. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Ready?
Ready.
Yep.
3,
Steady.
2, 1. Huh? 5, 6, 7 again.
And it's
A
perfect.
different way around.
There you go.
5. And what? Maria was 6, was she? Or,
I was 7.
You were 7. Oh, it was the other way around.
You know, so
Oh, shall I up it to 6 again?
I really enjoyed this episode. Like, to me, there wasn't really anything that unlikable about it. You know, it's interesting because you read some fan reviews and some of them really don't like this episode. They think it was poorly formed, blah blah blah. You read other ones and like they think it's the best episode of the season. And yeah, I just have very little complaint. I really quite enjoyed it. I think it's got some of the gravitas of the coming Borg element. You know, got the Romulans, the Warbird, and then you got this little subplot, which was really quite, you know, an involved subplot with multiple characters and comedy, and Data and his whole exploration of humanity. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
yeah, I wouldn't say that. I think there's some, you know, the good acting in this. Like they picked some, you know, some good guest stars. I just think that, and I definitely felt watching it this week. I felt the same again. That it should have been an episode about the cryogenic crew, and then the episode. But you know, the two storylines. It just doesn't make logical sense that all the crew just don't have any time for these guys.
Exactly. I mean, it was mashed together from fan fiction because of the writer's strike, you know. I think considering that, they did a very good job of it. But yeah, I mean, it was not the episode it was designed to be, that's for sure.
And I think that's what reflected in my marks, really. It felt like a little bit of a mess in the concept of them being out there so far to begin with, and then just the way that the crew treats them, treated the probe initially,
it just wasn't
and
realistic.
then people just weren't acting the way I would expect them to act in these situations, and it kind of just takes away some of the believability of it all.
When you think about it, it was quite dangerous considering that this was the last episode of this season 1, you know, and potentially what could have been, you know, that thing that should have been seen as the platform to launch them into season 2, and secure, you know, the funding or whatever for season 2. That may have been signed up by that point. I don't know. But, you know, it wasn't a cliffhanger, you know, of sorts, and you would have thought they would have set back a minute and thought, do we want this to really be the last episode that's going to leave people waiting for the next year, for the next season to come out? You know,
well, that was the whole point there. They didn't really have any choice. You know, they couldn't rewrite stuff. They had bits of script and they just tried to make it work. But no, I mean, this certainly wasn't a choice taken as a risk-based decision. This was making the best of a bad
Still
situation.
think it could have been done better, even though they were rushing.
Shows didn't have cliffhangers at ends of seasons back then. In fact, Best of Both Worlds in season 3.
This should have been like an end of season double parter almost, rather than a cliffhanger.
Best of Both Worlds actually started that whole genre of end of season cliffhangers. That was like the first one, and it became so popular, and people talked about Star Trek so much over that summer period that everybody started doing it because it was such a massive event for Star Trek.
There's both scores and puns in chat, by the way.
Oh,
so
I
Karen
love a pun.
says 6, Stuplum says 5. Stuplum says, well done, Karen, you've been and won it again.
Been and won it.
Karen says she thinks the plot got a bit frozen.
Oh, like the characters. Yeah, they're a bit stiff. No, they weren't. They weren't stiff at all. I mean, the characters were good in it, weren't they? And I think I always remember season 1 ending on a high from a number of Duff episodes. I did always like Conspiracy and The Neutral Zone. I always thought they were good, solid episodes towards the end of the season. And
yeah, it's weird. If you'd asked me, I wouldn't have thought that this was the last episode in the series. If I hadn't gone back and just watched it, I would probably plucked out the fact that it was like Conspiracy or something.
If you'd asked me a few weeks ago, I would have told you Conspiracy was the last episode of season 1, and Neutral Zone was about 3/4 of the way through the season. I don't know why I had that in my brain, but maybe it's one of those Mandela effect moments.
Yeah.
Maybe
a
bloody CERN rewriting history.
But like Maz said earlier on, originally this wasn't allowed to air in the UK, so it
That's the
could have
last
been.
one.
Yeah, it could have been
Thursday.
like they kind of then we all watched it a little bit later down the line or something. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Maybe. I'll just bring up the scores for this season because now we've got the end of season scores in. There we go. So the best episode as rated by us, surprising, I think. It's a bit of a surprising winner. Is 11001001. Was our favourite episode of this season. And then we've got a 3-way tie for second place in The Naked Now, The Battle, and We'll Always Have Paris.
Wow.
There we go.
How did We'll Always Have Paris get up there?
Probably because I gave it a silly high mark. I don't know. Oh, no, it was Maz.
Zoom in on your scores.
Maz.
Well, it wasn't silly compared to what you guys gave it. It was a 6, a 7, and an 8.
Yeah.
Count it again.
It was, yeah, I mean, we all scored it around the same. It just came out that way.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's a solid episode, you know. So yeah, that's our favourite episodes. We got The Big Goodbye and The Arsenal of Freedom, just slightly behind that. So that was sort of joint third, I suppose.
So which one did you say came in top?
11001001. Yeah, it's a good
That's
episode.
a good episode.
Yeah. We got good taste.
It reminds me of Starship Mine.
It does, yeah. 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 And the worst episode of the season is Angel 1, unsurprisingly. Followed by Justice and Code of Honor. And those 3 episodes really did tank out in the rankings from us. Yeah.
So who's won the fluffy toy?
The fluffy toy was won by Karen with a total of 3 points. So congratulations, Karen. Well done.
No guarantees on delivery of that, by the way, in terms of when. I must say also, I know I owe you a Yoda, Karen. I need to knit, it's quite a big one. I need to knit from scratch. So as long as you just tell me if you've got a due date on that and I'll work to that.
There you go. You got some fluffy toys heading your way at some point in the possible
I'll post them both at the
distance
same
future.
time if possible.
Yeah. One day.
Well, you were talking earlier on about her coming down. Why don't you just wait until she comes down?
Well, I don't think that's actually planned. I just said as soon as we can travel, she should come down for the barbecue.
Yeah.
But that's exactly it. I just don't know if.
I think
Oh
she's
no,
smelling the
Mickey's here!
burgers
Mickey,
Yeah.
Mickey, you're so fine.
Hi,
We're nearly
Mickey.
wrapping up.
Yeah,
But
we're
lovely
just
to
wrapping
see-
up, but it's
See
good.
you, hear from you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to see you. Yeah, so we've given out the final scores. Karen won the season 1 competition, and 11001001 is our favourite episode. So that's us pretty much wrapped up for season 1. Next we'll be starting season 2, and from now on we're just going to be doing 1 episode a week. So we've got a little bit more space to talk about the episode and not have to do quite as much research for us, make our lives a little easier. But I'm sure we'll be throwing in other news and bits of Star Trek news and anything else that we hear coming up as well. Yes.
Yes, we're going to be introducing new features like getting some of the Star Trek cast to come on and talk about their favourite moments.
Yeah, well, we did have Hollywood Star come on to a live stream last week.
That
Yeah.
was super exciting.
So,
We could contact some of these guys and reach out, leave Albert and see if he wants to come on.
yeah.
And
According
Oh my
to the
God.
Big Bang Theory, he'll do anything if you give him a sandwich.
Yeah.
like if we got Brent Spiner on, I'd be like, I'm wetting my pants. I'd be sitting there going,
Yes.
Brent Spiner.
I don't think we should get any of these people on because we'll just totally lose our cool.
Yeah.
I'll just be like,
I'll be
Yeah, like Mark
what
did the other day
time?
with,
What time?
like Montalban did the other day with Dove Cameron. He came all flustered when you.
I was a little flustered.
That was funny.
Didn't quite know what to do with myself. But
He was like, I can't go on to another game night right now. I need to collect myself.
yeah. Yeah, it was quite amusing. But I wasn't sure whether it was real, you know? It was like so
I
random.
did keep telling you it was real, and your daughter wouldn't believe you, which is a shame because, you know, she missed an opportunity to interact with one of her childhood heroes because she was being cynical.
Well, it's easy to be cynical about these things, you know?
It is,
Yeah,
but you know what they
especially in the
say,
world of online.
it's better to regret the things that you've done than regret the things you don't do.
Yes, true. Yeah. So, yes, Dove Cameron. Check it out if you want to see us chat with Dove Cameron. Check out last week's Fortnite Thursday night live stream. Unfortunately, there won't be a Fortnite live stream this week because I'm going out around my cousin's house to sit in his hot tub.
Sorry, Mickey.
Yeah.
But, you know, me and Luda might be on anyway if you want to come play with us.
Yeah, I might set my stream up ready to go and see if Anna or Alex wants to click the go live button.
Hey, that'd
and
be
start
good.
the stream off without me. It'll be Thursday night Fortnite live stream with Anna Banana.
Anna Banana.
Yeah, I might do that. Yeah.
And if anybody's around Friday, it is that Friday for Monty Zone this week, and we're doing an episode all about cryptozoology, and we've got Dan guesting with us again from his channel, and I hear it's going to be a good one.
And what creatures are you doing? Can you tell us?
I can't. Well, I'll try and remember them all. So we're doing giant anaconda, megalodon,
Giant squid.
chupacabra,
Giant squid.
giant squid, the Montauk monster,
When I say giant squid, I mean like
and
the Kraken.
Ooh, I can't
The
remember what the other
Kraken.
one
Are you
is.
doing the Kraken, Monty?
I am.
I know you're a bit obsessed.
I'm doing the Kraken.
Which one? Which two? You had
The
megalodon.
Megalodon and giant squid.
Yeah.
Because I figured
Let's
they're in
see.
the same sort of ballpark.
So
Yeah.
you should do the anaconda because then it's like Monty Python.
I'm doing the chupacabra and the Montauk monster, and I might drop a little bit of something in about Loch Ness monster.
Yeah.
Something recent that's come up.
See, Luda was asking me about cryptozoology, and Loch Ness was one of the first things that came to my mind to describe it to him as an example.
So yeah, Dan. Sorry, I missed one. A really good one. So Dan's doing giant anaconda and Mothman.
Mothman.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what he's doing. Yeah, I think that should be a fun show. I'm looking forward to that.
8:00 on Friday. Here it's going to be good.
Yeah,
Good Friday.
Good Friday. Good times. Start your Easter off with...
Tons from the G-Meister.
Yeah. Yep, so thank you for coming along, everyone. No, we're not doing the Beast of Bodmin Moor. No. We could be talking about that one in a future live stream, though, on location.
Yes.
Yeah,
Being eaten by it.
we'll be doing
So
that.
here we are.
That would make good footage. You'd get a lot of views.
Well, being eaten by the Beast of
With the
Bodmin.
Beast of Bodmin, eat my arm.
Final proof. Mark, capture this proof. It's eating me.
Yeah,
There goes my arm.
with the camera.
Yeah.
Come back! I can't be on YouTube anymore. Yeah. Yes, join us then. Thank you, everyone in chat. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Stuplum. Thank you, Lindy Hop. Thank you, Katie Fitness, for your very random chats as per normal. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mickey,
thank
for
you,
joining us at the
everyone.
end.
You know,
Thank
I
you,
get it in
everyone.
the neck when you don't acknowledge his comments.
Yeah, I'm never going to acknowledge his comments. He can talk away, and it's not going to happen.
Thank you to everyone that's supported us throughout season 1 review, and hopefully continue to support us into season 2.
Yeah, we're very excited. I'm excited because G's going to be managing the screenshots, so it's one less job for me to worry Yay! It's made my night, that has. Right, so yes, thank you everyone. And we'll see you next
See
time.
Mickey and Kaz tomorrow and everybody else
Cheers.
next time.
Yeah. Cheers, everyone.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.